Official rule. Explanation. Let me explain how the payment system works, because understanding this will clear up most of the confusion. CPP and OAS are paid monthly, and they're always paid in arrears. That means your February payment is actually for the month of February, but it arrives near the end of the month, not at the beginning. Service Canada deposits these payments on the second last business day of every month. That's the rule, and it's been that way for years. So for February 2026, you need to look at the calendar and count backwards. February has 28 days this year. The last day of the month is Saturday, February 28th. That's not a business day. So we go back one day to Friday, February 27th. That's the last business day. Then we go back one more business day, which brings us to Thursday, February 26th. That's your payment date. Thursday, February 26th, 2026. If you have direct deposit set up, the money should appear in your bank account on that day. If you receive a check in the mail, it will be mailed a few days earlier, but expect delays depending on Canada Post delivery times in your area. Now let's talk about amounts. In January 2026, CPP and OAS were both indexed based on the inflation rate from the previous year. The indexing increase for 2026 was 2.4%. That's based on the Consumer Price Index for the 12-month period ending in October 2025, and it's the official number published by Statistics Canada and confirmed by the Government of Canada. Here's what that means for your payment. If you're receiving the maximum CPP retirement pension, the amount increased from $1,364.60 per month in 2025 to $1,397.41 per month in 2026. That's an increase of about $33 per month. But here's the important part. Most Canadians do not receive the maximum. Your CPP amount depends on how much you contributed during your working years, how long you worked, and when you started taking CPP. So your personal amount could be much lower, and your increase will be 2.4% of whatever your individual benefit was. For old age security, the maximum payment for seniors aged 65 to 74 increased from $713.34 per month in 2025 to $730.45 per month in 2026. That's about $17 more per month. If you're 75 or older, you get an automatic 10% top-up on OAS, so your maximum is higher. For seniors 75 and over, the maximum OAS went from $784.67 in 2025 to $803.50 in 2026. Again, not everyone gets the maximum. Your OAS can be reduced if your income is above a certain threshold. That's called the OAS recovery tax, or clawback. For 2025 income, the threshold was $86,912. If your net world income online $23,600 of your tax return is above that number, Service Canada will reduce your OAS starting in July 2026, because that's when they apply your 2025 tax information. But we're still in February, so if your OAS dropped or changed recently, it's not because of the 2025 clawback yet. It's more likely related to your 2024 income, which was already applied last July. Or it could be a correction, a recalculation, or a residency issue. Real-life examples. Let me give you two examples that show how this works in real life. Example 1. Margaret. Margaret is 68 years old. She worked for 35 years and contributed to CPP during that time, but she didn't earn maximum pensionable earnings every year. Her CPP retirement pension in December 2025 was $920 per month. In January 2026, she received her first indexed payment, and it went up by 2.4%. That means her new monthly CPP is $942.08. She'll continue to receive $942.08 every month for the rest of 2026, unless something changes in her situation, like a disability application or a recalculation request. Margaret also receives OAS, She's under 75, so she doesn't get the extra 10%. Her OAS in December 2025 was $713.34, which was the maximum. In January 2026, it increased to $730.45. Her income last year was $48,000, which is well below the clawback threshold, so her OAS is not reduced. She'll receive the full $730.45 every month. Margaret's February payment will arrive on Thursday, February 26th. She'll see $942.08 for CPP and $730.45 for OAS, deposited together as two separate line items in her bank account. The total is $1,753. That's what she should expect, and that's what will continue unless her income changes or she turns 75. Example 2. Robert. Robert is 77 years old. He receives CPP and OAS, and he also has a workplace pension and some RRIF withdrawals. His CPP is $100 per month, which increased to $126.40 in January after indexing. His OAS should be $803.50 because he's over 75 and gets the maximum with the 10% top-up. But Robert's OAS is being clawed back. His income in 2024 was $95,000, which is above the $86,912 threshold that applied to the 2024 tax year. Service Canada applied that clawback starting in July 2025 based on his 2024 Notice of Assessment. The clawback rate is 15 cents for every dollar over the threshold, so Robert's income exceeded the threshold by $8,088. 15% of that is $1,013.20 per year, or about $101 per month. So instead of receiving the full $803.50 in OAS, Robert receives about $702 per month after the clawback. That's what he's been getting since July 2025, and it will continue until June 2026. Then, in July 2026, Service Canada will recalculate based on his 2025 income, and the amount may change again depending on whether his income went up or down. Robert sometimes gets confused because he thinks the clawback happens right away, but it doesn't. There's always a delay. The clawback for 2025 income won't start until July 2026, because that's when the CRA sends Service Canada your updated tax information. So what to check, what to do. So what should you be doing right now, in February 2026, to make sure everything is correct? First, check your My Service Canada account. This is the online portal where you can see your payment details, your benefit amounts, and any letters or notices from Service Canada. If you haven't set up your account yet, you should. You can access it through the Service Canada website using your bank login, a GCK, or a sign-in partner like your provincial digital ID. Once you're logged in, go to the section that shows your CPP and OAS payments. You should see your current monthly amounts, and you should see confirmation that the January indexing increase was applied. If the amounts don't match what you expect, that's your first clue that something needs attention. Second, look at your actual bank deposit on February 26th. Compare it to what My Service Canada says you should be getting. If the numbers match, you're fine. If they don't match, there are a few possible reasons. One reason is a deduction. Service Canada can deduct income tax at source if you requested it, or if you owe money from a previous overpayment. They can also deduct for things like garnishments or child support, though that's less common for retirees. If you see a deduction, check your My Service Canada account for a letter explaining it, or call Service Canada to ask. Another reason is a recalculation. Sometimes Service Canada reviews your file and finds that your CPP or OAS amount was incorrect. This can happen if there was missing information, a data entry error, or new information from CRA about your residence or income. If your payment suddenly changes, look for a letter in your My Service Canada account or in the mail. The letter will explain what happened and why. A third reason is a delay. If you don't see your payment on February 26th, check your bank again the next business day. Sometimes there are processing delays, especially if February 26th falls near a weekend, or if your bank has slower systems. If the payment still hasn't arrived by February 28th, call Service Canada. The Service Canada phone number is 1-800-277-9914 for CPP inquiries and 1-800-277-9915 for OAS and GIS inquiries. Yes, they're different numbers, even though the same department handles both. The wait times can be long, especially at the end of the month, so call early in the morning if you can. Third, check your Canada Revenue Agency account, especially if you're concerned about the OAS clawback. Log into your CRA My account and look at your most recent Notice of Assessment. Find line 23600, which is your net world income. That's the number Service Canada uses to determine if your OAS will be reduced. If your 2025 taxes aren't filed yet, that's normal. You don't have to file until April 30th, 2026. But if your income has changed significantly from 2024, you should be aware that your OAS might change in July when the new information is applied. If you don't have internet access or you're not comfortable using online accounts, you can call Service Canada and ask them to mail you a printed breakdown of your payments. You can also visit a Service Canada office in person, but be prepared for long wait times and bring 2 pieces of ID and your social insurance number. The common mistakes and warnings. Let me talk about the mistakes I see seniors make all the time, because these mistakes cause unnecessary stress and confusion. Mistake number 1. Expecting your payment at the beginning of the month. CPP and OAS do not come at the start of the month. They come at the end. If you're budgeting, you need to plan around the second last business day, not the first. Some seniors think the payment should arrive on the first because that's when rent is due or when other bills come in. But that's not how the government payment schedule works. The payment is for the current month, and it's paid near the end of that month. Mistake number 2. Assuming every increase is automatic and permanent. The January indexing increase is automatic, yes, but other changes are not. If your income goes up, your OAS can be clawed back. If you go back to work and start contributing to CPP again after age 65, your CPP can increase, but only if you apply for the post-retirement benefit. If you move out of Canada, your OAS can be reduced or stopped entirely, depending on how long you've lived in Canada. Nothing is guaranteed forever. Your situation changes, and your benefits can change with it. Mistake number 3. Ignoring letters from Service Canada. I know the letters are long and full of government language, but you have to read them. If Service Canada sends you a letter saying they're reviewing your file or that your payment is changing, that letter contains critical information. It tells you why the change is happening, when it takes effect, and whether you need to do anything. If you throw the letter away or don't read it carefully, you'll be confused when your payment changes, and you'll have no record of what happened. Mistake number 4. Thinking the payment date changes every year. It doesn't. The rule is always the second last business day of the month. The actual date changes because the calendar changes, but the rule stays the same. So if you're wondering when March's payment will arrive, just look at the March calendar, find the last business day, and count back 1. That's your payment date. You don't need to call Service Canada to ask. The schedule is predictable. Mistake number 5. Panicking if the payment is 1 day late. Sometimes banks take an extra day to process deposits, especially if the payment falls on a Thursday or Friday and your bank's systems update overnight. If your payment doesn't show up on the exact date, wait one more business day before you panic. If it's still not there after 48 hours, then call Service Canada. Future impact, if relevant. Now let's talk about what happens after February, because your payment doesn't just stay frozen for the rest of the year. Your CPP and OAS amounts will stay the same every month from January through June 2026, assuming nothing changes in your personal situation. The indexed amounts you received in January are locked in until the end of the year, unless there's a recalculation or correction. But in July, things can change, especially for OAS. That's when Service Canada applies your 2025 income information from your tax return. If your income went up in 2025 and you're now above the clawback threshold, your OAS will be reduced starting in July. If your income went down and you were being clawed back before, your OAS might go back up. This is why it's so important to file your taxes on time. If you don't file by April 30th, Service Canada won't have your updated income information, and they might stop your OAS payments entirely until you file. That's not a punishment. It's just how the system works. They need proof of your income to calculate your benefit. If you receive GIS, the same thing applies. Your GIS is recalculated every July based on your previous year's income. If you didn't file taxes, your GIS will stop. If your income went down, your GIS might go up. If your income went up, your GIS might go down or stop entirely. GIS is income tested, so your situation matters. For CPP, there's less change throughout the year unless you're still working. If you're between 65 and 70, working, and still contributing to CPP, you can apply for the post-retirement benefit. This is a small additional amount that gets added to your CPP every year based on your continued contributions. But you have to apply for it. It's not automatic. You apply through your My Service Canada account, and the benefit gets added a few months later. If you're turning 75 this year, your OAS will automatically increase by 10% starting the month after your 75th birthday. You don't need to apply. Service Canada tracks your age and applies the increase automatically. You'll see it in your payment the month after you turn 75. Looking ahead to 2027, CPP and OAS will be indexed again next January, based on inflation from 2026. We don't know what that rate will be yet. Inflation has been lower recently, so the increase might be smaller than this year's 2.4%. But we won't know the exact number until late 2026, when Statistics Canada publishes the Consumer Price Index data. Calm summary. Let me bring this all together so you know exactly what to expect. Your February 2026 CPP and OAS payment will arrive on Thursday, February 26th. If you have direct deposit, the money will be in your account that day. If you receive a check, it will be mailed a few days earlier. The amount you receive will match the indexed amount you got in January, unless there's been a recalculation, a clawback adjustment, or a deduction. If you're not sure what your amount should be, check your My Service Canada account or look at your January deposit and assume February will be the same. If your payment doesn't arrive on the 26th, wait one business day, then check again. If it's still missing by the 28th, call Service Canada at 1-800-277-9914 for CPP or 1-800-277-9915 for OAS. If your payment amount has changed and you don't know why, Look for a letter in your My Service Canada account or in your mail. The letter will explain what happened. If there's no letter and you're still confused, call Service Canada and ask them to review your file. Remember, these benefits are designed to support you, and the system is more stable than it feels when you're worried. Most payment issues are small, explainable, and fixable. The government isn't trying to take your money away. They're following rules that are based on your income, your residency, and your contribution history. If you stay informed, check your accounts regularly, and read the letters you receive, you'll almost never be surprised. And if something does go wrong, Service Canada has processes in place to fix it. It might take time, and it might require a phone call or two, but the system does work. Engagement prompt, natural. I'd like to ask you a question. When you check your bank account on February 26th, will you know exactly what to expect, or are you still unsure about what your payment should be? If you're unsure, take a few minutes after watching this video to log into your My Service Canada account and confirm your amounts. Write them down somewhere safe so you can compare them to your actual deposit. If this video helped clear up your confusion about February payments, I'd appreciate it if you subscribed to the channel. We focus exclusively on Canadian retirement benefits, and we release new videos every week covering CPP, OAS, GIS, and the changes that affect Canadian seniors. There's no sales pitch here, no investment advice, just clear explanations of the rules and what you need to know. If you have a specific question about your payment, feel free to leave a comment below. I read every comment, and I'll do my best to point you in the right direction. Just keep in mind, I can't give personal financial advice or access your individual account, but I can help you understand the rules and where to go for help. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.